You were told to be neat, nice, well-behaved. People said you should aim to be perfect, a version of yourself made from only the parts they liked. Smile. Be quiet. Don't get angry. Stay positive. But you've felt it, haven't you? The heavy feeling in your chest when you hold back your real thoughts. The silence inside when you hide how you really feel. You learned how to disappear without leaving, how to become who others wanted you to be. You kept shrinking yourself and called it growing up. You pushed your feelings down and called it strength. But the truth is, those parts you pushed away, they're still with you, still alive inside, still waiting to be seen. Because pretending to be perfect is like wearing a mask, and masks make it hard to breathe. You've been trying to live inside a version of yourself that doesn't feel real. You try to smile, but it feels fake. You try to be strong, but it's exhausting. And the truth is, you're tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of always being okay. Tired of holding everything in. But something deep inside is waking up. It says, you weren't made to be perfect. You were made to be whole. Being whole means accepting all of you. The strong and the scared. The kind and the angry. The peaceful and the wild. It means saying, I can be both soft and fierce. I can feel deeply and still be strong. I don't have to hide who I am. You weren't meant to erase yourself to fit in. You were meant to remember who you are. And maybe you've forgotten for a while. That's okay. Forgetting is part of the journey. But now it's time to remember. To come back to yourself. To listen to the parts of you that have been silent for too long. The parts of you they didn't want. They are the parts that make you real. Trying to be perfect can make you feel trapped. It might get you praise, but it costs you your truth. It costs you your peace. Being whole means letting go of the image and finally finding yourself. It means choosing real over perfect. It means resting when you're tired. It means telling the truth even if your voice shakes. You don't need to be flawless. You need to be you. They called it growing up, but really it meant slowly leaving pieces of yourself behind. You were told to move on, to stop crying, to be strong. But how do you move on when parts of you still hurt? How do you forget something that still lives inside you? You didn't really move on. You locked the pain away. You shut the door on feelings that felt too big, on memories that still sting, on dreams that didn't feel safe anymore. But the door didn't lock tight. And what you pushed down began to show up in other ways. In sadness you couldn't explain. In anger that came out of nowhere. In moments when you felt empty but didn't know why. The part of you that got left behind is still calling out. Not to be dramatic, not to cause problems, but to be heard, to be seen, to be held. This part of you isn't bad. It's just hurt. It's just been alone for too long. You might think ignoring it will make it go away, but it won't. It will keep showing up in ways that confuse you until you finally stop and listen. Can you remember who you were before you were told to be quieter, smaller, nicer? Can you remember what you loved, what made you laugh, what made you feel alive? That part of you is still there, still waiting, still hoping you'll come back. You don't have to be afraid of it. You don't have to fix it. Just be willing to sit with it. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is listen, not with judgment, but with love. Say, I know I've left you, but I'm here now. Because healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about making peace with who you were and who you still are. You are not broken. You are unfinished. And the pieces that feel lost, they're just waiting to come home. Going inward isn't weakness, it's courage. It means slowing down. It means asking questions that don't have easy answers. You've spent so long running from your feelings, from the sadness that lingers, from the anger you're afraid to feel, from the fear of being seen as too much. But none of those feelings are your enemy. They are just signs, signals from inside you trying to get your attention. Going inward is like turning on a light in a room you've kept locked for years. At first, the dust is thick, the silence is loud. It might feel scary, but once your eyes adjust, you begin to see clearly. This is where the real work happens. Not on the outside, but deep within. It's where you stop blaming the world for your pain and start understanding what that pain is really trying to teach you. You ask, why does this hurt so much? And you might hear, because you never felt safe enough to cry. You ask, why do I always push people away? And the answer might be, because it hurt too much to be left before. Going inward means finally having those conversations with yourself. It means sitting quietly with the version of you that's still holding their breath, that's still waiting to be chosen. And in that silence, you begin to choose them. You begin to choose you. You don't need to solve everything today. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to show up, to sit with your story, to let your truth rise, even if it's messy. Because that mess, it's where your magic lives. You don't find your power by avoiding your pain. You find it by walking with it, by holding its hand and saying, I'm not afraid of you anymore. This is the beginning of healing, the beginning of being whole, and it starts right here, with you, finally turning inward. There are parts of you that you've tried to hide, feelings that were too big, thoughts that felt too dark, needs that were too hard to ask for. So you tucked them away, deep down. Maybe someone once told you that being angry made you bad, or that crying made you weak, or that wanting more meant you were selfish. So you tried to be good, you tried to be strong, you tried to need less, but those parts didn't disappear, they just went quiet. And now, they whisper. They show up when you're alone. They rise up in moments you least expect. That sudden wave of sadness, that quick flash of anger, that feeling of not being enough. Those are signals, not problems, not flaws, just parts of you trying to be heard. You don't have to be afraid of them. They are not here to ruin you. They are here to rejoin you. Can you let them in? Can you sit with them like old friends you've been ignoring? What would happen if instead of pushing them away, you said, I see you, I understand, you belong? That's what healing is. Not changing who you are, but bringing all of who you are into the light. It's saying, I can feel deeply and still be safe. I can be angry and still be good. I can have needs and still be loved. The parts of you that were hidden are not broken. They are just lonely. They don't need to be fixed. They need to be welcomed. And when you begin to welcome them, you begin to feel whole again. Because the truth is, you were never meant to be just one thing. You are not only light, you are shadow too. You are full of contrasts. And that's not a mistake. That's what makes you human. That's what makes you you. So take a breath. Close your eyes and say it out loud. All of me is allowed to exist. That is where the healing begins. That is where the shame ends. Healing isn't always about fixing what's broken. Sometimes it's about accepting what has been ignored. There are parts of you that have waited years to be seen, not for pity, not for approval, but just to be accepted. Think about how often you've tried to be stronger than you felt. How many times you smiled when you were hurting. How often you told yourself, I'm fine, when you weren't. You don't have to pretend anymore. Not here. Not with yourself. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the fight against who you are. You don't need to keep proving you're good enough. You already are. What if you started trusting your feelings instead of hiding them? What if you stopped calling yourself weak for being human? You're not wrong for feeling too much. You're not broken for needing time, space, or rest. You're not a failure for being honest about your pain. That voice inside you, the one you keep quiet, it matters. It's your truth. Then when you start to listen to it, really listen, you begin to change the way you see yourself, not as someone who's too emotional, but as someone who's deeply alive, not as someone who's falling behind, but as someone who's finding their own pace, not as someone who's not enough, but as someone who is finally enough for themselves. You don't need more perfection, you need more presence. You don't need to get rid of your fear, you need to understand it. You don't need to be tougher, you need to be softer with yourself. This is where real power comes from, not from hiding, not from pretending, but from choosing to show up even in your mess, especially in your mess. Say this to yourself: I can be exactly as I am and still be worthy of love. Let it sink in. Say it again. Louder this time. Feel it. Believe it. Because the moment you accept yourself, you stop needing everyone else to do it for you, and that's the kind of freedom no one can take away. Stand in front of the mirror, not to judge, not to criticize, just to meet yourself. Let your shoulders drop, let your breath slow down, let your eyes soften. Now look not at your face, not at the flaws you've learned to see. Look deeper into the eyes that have carried you through every hard day, into the face that's still here after everything you've been through. Who do you see? Do you see the child who needed more love, the teen who felt misunderstood, the adult still learning how to feel safe in their own skin? They're all in there, still alive, still hoping you'll come back for them. This moment in front of the mirror is not about fixing anything. It's about remembering. Say to yourself, I see you, I remember you, I'm sorry for leaving you behind. I'm here now and I'm not going anywhere. Let the tears rise if they do. Let the tightness in your chest loosen. Let yourself feel without rushing. Because this mirror is not your enemy. It's a doorway, a reflection of everything you've carried and everything you're ready to welcome back. You may not love everything you see right now. That's okay. You're learning. You're rebuilding trust with yourself. Take your time. You've waited this long. You can give yourself a little longer. Stand there until the reflection starts to feel less like a stranger, until you stop looking through the lens of criticism and start looking through the lens of care. You are not just your face. You are not just your past. You are not your mistakes. You are the whole story, and you are still writing it. This mirror moment is not about becoming someone new. It's about coming home to the person you've always been, underneath all the roles, the pressure, and the masks. And that person, they're worth seeing. They're worth loving. They're worth staying for. Every real change feels like fire at first. It burns through the lies you've believed about yourself. It melts the masks you've worn for too long. It's not a fire that destroys you. It's a fire that sets you free. You may feel like everything is falling apart, but sometimes that's exactly what needs to happen. You're not breaking down, you're breaking open. The fire shows you what no longer belongs, the parts of you that were built just to survive, the habits that protected you, but now hold you back, the patterns that kept you safe, but small. Let it burn. Let it strip away what you've outgrown. Let it clear the space for who you are becoming. And when the fire calms down, silence will follow. Not an empty silence, a peaceful one. The kind of silence where you can finally hear your own voice, where your nervous system slows, where your soul sighs with relief. In that silence, something beautiful happens. You meet yourself again, not the version you show to the world, but the version that's been quietly waiting inside. The real you, the grounded you, the still you who doesn't need to prove anything anymore. Can you sit in that quiet? Can you let yourself feel okay, even when there's nothing to fix? That's what healing sounds like. Not a loud celebration, but a soft return. You stop needing so much from the outside world because you start finding it on the inside. And it's not about never feeling pain again. It's about knowing that when pain comes, you don't run from it. You face it, you hold it, and you grow from it. The fire clears, the silence arrives. And in that stillness, you remember who you really are. Not a problem to solve, but a soul to return to. Now you return. Not to who others wanted you to be. Not to the version of you that tried so hard to be perfect. You return to who you were before the world told you to change. Before the masks, before the silence, before the pressure to be strong all the time. This isn't a new you. It's a deeper you, a truer you. You don't have to earn this return. You don't have to prove your worth to come home to yourself. You're already worthy. You always have been. Coming home means giving yourself permission to rest, to breathe, to feel safe inside your own skin again. It means letting go of the need to perform, letting go of the need to explain, letting go of the need to carry it all alone. You don't have to carry it all, not anymore. You can be held by your truth, by your breath, by the quiet knowing that you've come so far. You've faced the fire, you've sat in the silence, you've listened to your wounds, and now you stand in a new kind of strength. Not the strength that pushes everything down, but the strength that lets everything rise. Your story is not one of perfection, it's one of courage, of falling and rising, of forgetting and remembering. And now you remember, you are not a broken thing to be fixed. You are a beautiful whole to be embraced. Your anger is not wrong. Your fear is not weakness. Your softness is not a flaw. They are all parts of your truth, and all of you belongs. This is what it means to come home to yourself, to live from the inside out, to walk through life rooted, steady, and awake. You will still have hard days, but you'll meet them differently. You'll meet them as someone who knows who they are. You are no longer trying to be untouchable. You are becoming unshakable. Because when you accept who you are, nothing outside of you can take that away. This is the return. This is the real you, and you are finally home. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung.